One implication of this loss of rida that we now find our communities very often in is that we tend to judge others. Perhaps because we're not content with the way Allah is arranging history at this particular moment, that we get jumpy and agitated and our tawheed and even our iman seems to be challenged. And so we like to attack others. And we are often extremely judgmental. And one of the greatest errors that one can make in this time, according to the ulama, is the error of assuming that this is a time for perfection, for rigorism. That the harder the world becomes for the believers, the more perfect we have to demand everybody is. So that if you come into a mosque and you're not dressed in a thobe and a kufi, I've come across mosques where they won't even let you in, which from the point of view of traditional fiqh is completely haram and completely disgraceful, but illustrates the fact that we get panicked about the imperfections of the outside world and we want to make our own communities a space of absolute rigorous perfection. Sometimes we find that people are alienated from the religion altogether. Quite often those brothers and sisters who attribute themselves to the great lofty maqam of da'wah will actually scare off 100 people for every one person that they attract. And the people that they attract are often not the best people, not the people who are spiritually and morally the most impressive or the most educated. I remember once meeting an English woman in Cairo who had converted to Islam more or less nominally when she married a secular Egyptian. And she'd started to get interested in the religion, as sometimes happens, and somebody had given her a tasbih, prayer beads, and she was clicking away at these one day, not knowing much about the religion, but wanting to know more, when an angry purist came along and said, "Don't you know this is bid'ah, this is haram?" And he pulled them out of her hands and broke them, so the beads flew all over the floor. And she was so damaged by the harshness of that moment, and she said, "I don't want to learn anything more about Islam." And that's been her state for the last 20 years. She's just alienated and put off. Whereas she might have come in, and by now she might have been an asset to the community. There's too much of that going on.